What's up, you guys? So this is the last time I'll be doing this kind of video today. I don't know if I'll cover the donations. I may or may not, but this is the last one as far as the stadiums are concerned. So you saw my 250 recap, which saw a new SMX champ in the 250 class in Joe Shimoda. Well, it was another magical night for Honda, as this is now my 450 recap. So remember, guys, subscribe if you think that I'm worth listening to, or if you just want to see some more of my games, or if you think I make a good point every now and then. But anyway, let's get into this. Here comes my banner for the 450 class. Jett Lawrence earns three-peat. Chase Sexton crashes hard and out of MX of Nations. So, Jett Lawrence. Oh my gosh. I don't know if there's anything more to discuss about Jett Lawrence and how talented he really is. But he was really, really looking forward to the 450. And the way that he rides, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I haven't seen this kind of talent from someone on a Honda this early in his career since probably Jeremy McGrath. Now, I did jump over Ricky Carmichael, but you know what? At the time, Carmichael was riding really decent with Honda, and he was winning races early and often. And the one thing that really stood out to me was that Ricky never really fought through the pack all that much. He would always get the good start and just run away from everyone until Chad Reed came along in 2003. And challenged him in every turn towards the end of the season. And Chad Reed had won the last 6 races of 2003, and Carmichael openly admits he lost sleep over that. So that's the only outlier, I would say, as far as Jett Lawrence is concerned. That's why I say that I have not seen that kind of talent from someone as young as Jett Lawrence since maybe Jeremy McGrath. Because the one thing about Jett is that he's really good at passing other riders and coming through the field. Ricky wasn't really known for that. He would always get the whole shot and just run away and hide, almost like McGrath. But what really separated McGrath from the rest of the pack was that not only was he good naturally, but he was also good at passing other riders without getting in trouble with the AMA. And as far as Jett Lawrence is concerned, he has not gotten in that kind of trouble per se. And neither did Ricky. But still, I have not seen that kind of talent since Jeremy McGrath was on Honda. Okay? So as far as Brother Hunter is concerned, that was a little bit of a downer there to see him lose the overall and also the championship. But I think in the long run, Hunter had to have known that it was a long shot considering how good Jett really is, because Hunter is a good rider. I'll give him that, but he just doesn't seem to pull the trigger as often as Jett does. And I think that if Jett and Hunter come through the pack, Hunter might be able to pick up some things, kind of look at the younger generation, so to speak. And the way that Jett rode, he made everyone look like there were 2 standard deviations behind him, including Eli Tomac, because the way that Tomac was riding, he was riding good, at least in the first moto anyway, but Jett Lawrence reached down deep and passed him, and that had to have been a major confidence docker for Eli Tomac. And one wonders why Eli decided not to retire when Jett Lawrence was coming up. But at the same time, you can't blame him if he thinks he can still win. And to be frank, Chad Reed kept coming back season after season because he wanted to. And I still felt that he could win races. And the way that Chad Reed was riding for Suzuki in 2019, I knew he was going to give him a podium sooner or later, and he did so at Detroit. And I felt that he could win a race, but unfortunately, it just doesn't work out sometimes. And at Chad Reed's age, sometimes your luck level goes more downward than upward. And unfortunately, Chad Reed, I couldn't believe that guy's luck sometimes. He kind of reminded me a bit of Ryan Hughes and Casey Johnson at the same time. Because they were both fast, but they were always held back by just stupid luck, really. But as far as Jett Lawrence is concerned, he's pretty much immune from all of that, like 9 times out of 10. So now this part here, Chase Sexton crashes hard and out of the donations. I didn't see that crash at first, but when I did, oh my God, that just really turned my stomach for sure. To see Chase Sexton go over the bars the way that he did, that's a high-speed section, and that's a really bad place to crash because you're going 60, 65 in miles per hour in that zone outside the stadium. And to see Chase Sexton not get hurt by that was major heads up by the AMA. But I think that when you consider the fact that Hayden Deegan also crashed out of the donations and Chase Sexton crashed out of the donations, and those two were already picked for the MX donations, which is taking place on Sunday. But I'll tell you this. If there was a vote, if they were taking a vote for the playoffs to be held after the donations, I guarantee you Chase Sexton would vote yes in a heartbeat, let me tell you. Because I would certainly vote for a race to not be after the to not be before the donations, for a series to not be before the donations, I should say, because considering how many times that Sexton has crashed out of the final moto, I guarantee you he would vote for something like that. You know, you talk about someone who would vote for that kind of stuff. Look at Greg Albertine at Orlando. In 1995, he crashed hard and had to wait at a baseball field for an ambulance because someone parked in the ambulance stall. Then in 96, he doesn't have that great a ride and crashes again. In 97, the series is at round 10, and Albertine is running third in his heat race. And then he had that really terrible, terrible crash in qualifying and didn't come back for the semi. And he was taken off on a backboard. And, you know, sometimes, you know, you come back to this certain race, and in Chase Sexton's case, it's the final moto of the season, and he gets hurt. In Greg Albertine's case, they come back to Orlando, and he crashes in qualifying. Or in the main event. Depends. But still, the next year after that, they didn't go to Orlando until 2005, and Albertine ended up crashing out of the series at New Orleans, and that was at round 10 in 1998. So just a little something to think about there. But another guy that I didn't put on this banner right here, I want to give a shout out to my guy, Grant Harlan. He qualified for the final round of the season, local boy, or semi-local boy, because he now lives in Texas. But he was born on the Big Island of Hawaii. And if you're born on the Big Island of Hawaii, you're a local athlete for sure. And to see Grant Harlan make the main event, that was good. That was good on him. I mean, would I have picked him to win the race overall? Probably not, but still, it is good to see the local guys out there because, like I said, you're born in Hawaii, you're a local guy, even if you don't live in the islands anymore. So I just thought I'd give a quick shout out to Grant Harlan. And, of course, if you haven't seen my interview with Grant Harlan, make sure you check that out because I did talk to Grant about his Hawaii ties. I talked to him back in May, and that was a good interview for sure. So, little shout out to Hard Dog, as they call him, Grant Harlan, making the main event. So, at this point, getting back to the racing, one last thing I want to bring up. With Jett Lawrence running down Eli Tomac the way that he is, the fact that Tomac is coming back in 26 for KTM, you definitely hope that it goes well for him, because I didn't think that his tenure at Yamaha was going to go that great after how James Stewart had a terrible run on that backwards framed Yamaha in 2010 and 11. And 2012 in Supercross as well. So one wonders if Eli Tomac is going to have the same kind of tenure that Chase Sexton had this past year, even though he won the outdoor title in 24 and almost won the Supercross title in 25 and had all kinds of trouble in the outdoors this year. So that's where I'll leave it. So anyway, guys, thanks you all for watching all these recaps of the Supercross season. We'll see you all for 2026. I might do the donations, but we'll see what happens. No guarantees, though. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. And remember, subscribe. I'll see you all for 2026.